Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, out at night in West Hollywood, California. And I just wanted to touch base. As those who have been following Mr. Sci-Fi know, we shot the scene with Michelle Nichols on Friday. It was terrific. It was a wonderful experience. And then we spent Saturday with our star Ethan McDowell rehearsing a scene with Kasturi Anderson, and then scanning him to make a statue of him that we're using in Redemption, and then recording his lines for the prequel, the audio play that we're also doing as a graphic novel. So it was great fun, great fun, and much more to come, much more exciting stuff to come. But the reason I'm doing this right now is because amongst these things I've been watching Star Trek Discovery and The Expanse and The Orville, and I wanted to talk about the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery in my copious free time. I think it's called Such Sweet Sorrow, and it's the penultimate episode of season 2, meaning the next to last. And though a lot of people use penultimate as the same as ultimate, which it isn't, so there's a little vocabulary lesson. But so as I've mentioned before with Star Trek Discovery, there are certain episodes that are just kind of connective tissue, and this was pretty much one of them. Where to start? Well, as we know, the computer from Control is taking people over, and it's trying to get the data that the Discovery has so it can wipe out all sentient life in the universe. And we'll find out, I think, in the next episode if these are actually the Borg, if this is the Borg's origin story or not. Either way is, okay, fine. It was okay. This was okay. I should comment that sometimes their titles are kind of the obvious title. Parting is such sweet sorrow. Okay, I mean, basically at this stage of the game, they probably shouldn't be using Shakespeare anymore as titles just across the board. But it's interesting. I was once with Ray Bradbury, and he wrote a great story called Dark They Were and Golden Eyed, and I assumed it was a quote from somewhere. And I asked him, he said, no, I came up with that. It was, every now and then I'd get a good one. So, Dark They Were and Golden Eyed, great. It was about the Martians and really swell. So, anyway, continuing on about Such Sweet Sorrow. So this is the episode where Michael, they've gotten a Klingon time crystal, and they're going to build another angel time traveling suit. And Michael is going into the future, and because they can't destroy the data, they're going to take Discovery, ideally on autopilot, to follow her into the future, into infinity and beyond. And so basically Captain Pike goes back to the Enterprise and his crew, and we get to see the Enterprise bridge, which is kind of a riff on the original Enterprise bridge, but only not as cool. And it's a little cluttered looking, and Elaine said they shouldn't design a set that looks like a restaurant. Well, okay. But Star Trek still is a gorgeous looking show, great visual effects, wonderful acting for the most part. Doug Jones, we had dinner with Doug a few nights ago, wonderful to see him, and of course he's great as Saru, he's doing a great job. And they played, a little bit of a tease where Pike's going to name the captain of the Discovery now that he's leaving, and then Saru interrupts and says, well, let's not deal with that right now. It's like, oh, okay, you certainly could have, but mainly, if any of you have seen The Wizard of Oz, you know that little scene near the end where she goes, goodbye to all the, the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion, and then she hugs the straw man and says, the Scarecrow, and says, "I'll miss you most of all." I mean, that was basically this entire episode of Star Trek Discovery, is all these characters saying goodbye to each other, and so it was like, and even they even brought in, and you were there. They brought in, her parents from Vulcan, Amanda, and Sarek, and Sarek apologizes for being, a Vulcan basically, and and everyone kind of hugs, and everyone's saying goodbye, and they're all, staunch, and then they decide to stay with her, with Michael, not her parents, but like the crew, and go with her through time, and you're going, well, wait a minute, what are the rules here exactly? It's sort of like, if Pike can go get a time crystal from the Klingons, why can't, those who are under the control of that evil computer? And if you're hearing growling, it's my dogs playing with each other, Rudy and Eve, but again, it's sort of like, well, if they've got time crystals, can't Control just kind of, go into the future and get this data anyway? I mean, it's like, what is the point of all of this? But it's just twists and turns, and in a future commentary soon, I'll be talking about the different aesthetic and dramatic orientations of the Orville and Star Trek Discovery and The Expanse and Space Command, because there's a whole issue of drama and how you do drama and how you do character and how you do a story that you haven't seen before, and all of that, and we'll get into that, but not this time. So, but all in all, it was an okay episode, but just slow, and everyone saying goodbye to everyone else, and it's kind of like, okay, we don't really need all of these scenes quite, but let's say la vie. So, so in conclusion, uh, what else to talk about? How terriers can be like Wolverines, perhaps. We are going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign for Space Command in the next few days to raise the money to shoot the rest of the second episode, Forgiveness. So you'll be seeing that very, very shortly. You'll be seeing, I've been posting clips from the shoot with Nichelle on Mr. Sci-Fi, so hopefully you've been seeing some of those. It was really an amazing, wonderful experience. And as I said, I'll be doing the history of science fiction in TV and features and radio very soon. And I'll also be posting about The Expanse, posting about the Orville, and whatever else occurs to me. I saw Claire Denis' film about a guy raising his daughter in space. It was okay-ish, but not great. A little threadbare. But, Robert Pattinson was good in it. But that's about it for now. That's all the major news from the night. And but again, we'll talk about the final episode of Star Trek Discovery in the days to come. And if you want to pledge to Space Command, you can wait for the Kickstarter campaign, or you can go on to GoFundMe. There's a link on many of my videos where you can go to the GoFundMe and put a few dollars our way, or Patreon, Mark Zickery at Patreon, and also you can subscribe to Mr. Sci-Fi, and most importantly, you can buy Space Command shares. Well, the next few steps are we have to rent a warehouse, convert it to a soundstage, build an alien hibernation ship and 3 creature suits, and gather our cast. We're rolling camera on that episode July 1st, come hell or high water. And the more that we get money in hand, the more we can do all of those things with the least amount of grief. So if you are interested in buying Space Command shares at $7,500 each, that's markzickery@gmail.com, or you can call me at 323-363-1259, and we can rock and roll. I was just on Coast to Coast for 2 hours Friday night, which was the day that I also shot the scene with Nichelle, a long day, but it was a lot of fun to be on the air with George and Nori. I do that every few months or so, and we were talking about all of these different things I'm engaged upon, and it was a lot of fun talking to the callers and all of that. So that's about it for now. We can talk again really soon, and feel free to reach out to me with any of your comments, and thanks very much for everything. Take care, guys. Bye.